That's pretty good.
Yeah. So
that's pretty good.
Good evening to you, Dennis.
Oh, hello, Erik.
Is it the happiest of hours?
It is the happiest hour of my day,
well,
without a doubt.
I'm so glad. So, welcome back, everyone.
Both of you.
Yes, both of you. You and you. I, for once, did some homework for this episode. It was
hard to believe.
I know, right? It was assigned to me that I watch the movie Biutiful, spelled in Spanish pronunciation, which I did, and I have some thoughts.
Well, let's just start with those, shall we? It sounds like a riveting discussion already.
Well, I don't know about riveting, but, please do write in if you're riveted or not.
Mildly interesting.
Yeah, so you very much emphasized the idea that there was a lot of whispering going on. And to be honest, I haven't heard a movie with so much whispering, but for sure that whispering was mic'd very, very well. Like, there was a lot of... It wasn't action like you could see the people whispering. It was other footage placed over where they were whispering. There was a lot of whispering, and I was very impressed that the whispering was so audible. Should we whisper the rest of the podcast?
It's hard for me to lean forward this far because my back hurts.
Well, it's too bad you're so old.
I really can't. I really don't want to hear you whisper because it really is gross. You're like a pervert of some kind, and I don't want to be any part of it. You go back to your place where you go, but no more whispering.
We have to talk sometime about the concept of ASMR, which is a bizarre podcasting phenomenon. But we'll get to that. You said that I was going to agree that this was the best Javier Bardem movie.
Well, if you say it like
no,
you say it like
no,
that.
No. But and it was a great movie, but it was not. It hurt to watch. Like what I wanted in a movie. I'm fine with movies that make me cry.
Oh, here we go.
Because your Schindler's List or whatever, where it's a tragedy has happened, but this was just tragic from beginning to end. There was no
that doesn't address his performance.
No. For sure, his performance was amazing. But
I thought it was his best performance, is what I should have said. I don't think I did say that. And it's a second opinion to say that it's the best movie I've ever seen him in. That is a different opinion.
Okay.
That second opinion is one which you differ with. The question is outstanding about the first.
Yes.
Point.
It was so good. It was like there was no acting going on. Like there was a guy, and that was him. So for sure, I will give you that. It didn't feel like there was any. It was so legit that I didn't feel like there was any director behind the camera, controlling things, or an actor that had learned his lines. Right. It felt just legit, real truth. So, which one
of the parts of that,
which I imagine is the pinnacle that you're striving for when you're making a movie.
But only because in this case, I think that not only that even at the start of it, it wasn't so much just the compelling performance. It was a compelling performance and a particularly unique character. So if that character and that screenplay wasn't so unique, then his performance could not have been as remarkable because it wouldn't have been applied onto a canvas as remarkable as this character.
I'll give you that.
If
sure.
That makes sense.
Yes.
But you don't have to give it.
No,
I'm selling it to you. I'm selling you my opinion.
In that case, I'm buying
Send
it.
me $10. So, send me $10. Hey, pal, I need it.
Well, anyone that wants to give us money can go to patreon.com/happyhour. And the other thing that really, disturbingly gripped me was the fact that his kids are more or less the same age as mine. And there's an older girl and a younger boy, and they're probably what my kids were 2 years ago, or maybe now. I don't know, but that was extremely oh my God! I get the feelings this man must have for his kids.
It sounds very powerful.
Well, that's good. Whispers make everything seem more important. So, also, the character suffers from a weakness that I have. I would consider it one of my parenting flaws is I'm more of a stickler about manners at the table than I wish I was. And I'm not so much like...
Is your father like that?
Not now. Not now, and not that I can recall from... Not that I can recall.
When you wore suspenders.
Not that I can recall.
When you wore suspenders as a 3-year-old.
Yes. I don't have memories of there being strict rules, but in general, growing up in the South, you learn that there are table manners and stuff.
Yes.
But...
You weren't born with that. You weren't born with that.
No.
Insistence on manners. You learned it.
Yes, for sure. I'll.
Or you copped it.
I will buy that from you.
Or you it's another $10. Or you copped it. You copped it. You saw somebody else do it. And you said, "Hey, that's cool.
But
I want to cop that behavior. I want to be a strict manners parent."
But
because the guy who did it was cool, and you said, "Huh, I want to be like him. He's cool, so I want to be like that too." You copped it.
Maybe, but I doubt it.
Maybe.
But
the fact that you think it's a possibility is very telling. Okay, that means that it's true. All right.
But also
you're busted.
While I have told my kids, "Hey, stop kicking the table," I haven't slammed my hand down on the table and said, "Stop kicking the goddamn table," like our character in the movie does. But I don't know.
It was a compelling scene.
Yes, for sure.
And so,
and also, I want to give credit to the boy actor, where there's a scene where the father Javier says, "Don't put so much food in your mouth," and the boy spits out half of the food, and the father's like, "Don't be such a fucking pig. Put all that food back in your mouth," and the boy is like looking at him like, "Okay," which and that really touched me in a way of. I have found myself giving contradictory, orders to my children. What
was that boy's name in the movie?
No idea.
Mario or?
Yeah, well,
and
I have no idea. But the actor's name, the actor was so good in that because the way he looked at Bardem, like, "Okay, Dad, I guess I'll put this back in my mouth," like that. That really touched me in a way that I've seen my own children look at me like, "You just told me not to do this, and now you're telling me to do it." I don't know. It was touching.
Well, here's the point about the movie expanding from that point about this young child actor. The other is that, in fact, there was not an actor in the movie who wasn't impeccable. There wasn't a poor performance.
No.
It was a tragic, distressing, unsettling, very compelling, dark, experience.
Yes,
but only able to reach that level of depth because each performance was impeccable, led by Javier.
Yes, and the word that kept coming up to my mind was gritty. The movie felt gritty.
Gritty, yeah.
It was
in Seville or Madrid.
No, wrong on both. Good try. It was in Barcelona, and And I knew this watching it because they slipped in some Catalan, which is the language that they speak in Barcelona. But it was dark the whole way through. And I have a hard time.
Well, two exceptions, if I may.
You may.
If I may.
You may.
And it's actually the same exception 2 times. The beginning and the ending was uplifting and was incredible. It was the only time in the entire movie that Javier's character smiled, let alone laughed. The only time in the entire movie. And when he laughed at the end, it was for me the most emotional, poignant part of the entire movie. Even though I witnessed it earlier on, I did not know how much I wanted to see that smile and that laugh because he finally was. He finally was at peace. And that was uplifting to me in a way that ended the experience on a very difficult to describe, questioning, ethereal, existential place.
Yes.
But with a sense of joy and actually hope, because in fact, I knew at the end that the suffering man
was at peace,
was laughing, and was going over there to see what's that over there. I played it back in my head. I feel like I've seen it 3 or 4 times, but I've seen it once. It's engraved. It's engraved.
I will grant you, or I will buy that from you. The
$30, another 10.
That
PayPal.
That yes, the they in the industry they call that bookending, where they start with the same scene and they end with the same scene. And for sure, for the first 10 minutes of the movie, they give you, and this is a thing I love about movies. I love movies that don't over-explain anything. They don't say, this is what's happening to this character. There was no explanation. You were just on your own to figure out what the hell was going on with this movie.
You were, in fact, a witness.
Right. You were just a fly on the wall. Yeah.
Drama of his life and his loved ones and relationships' lives.
Yes.
And the tragedy, the enormity of the death, the surreal, existential, spiritual connection with the dead trying to pass was so intriguing and so riveting that the entire movie, I had no idea what might happen next, because what was happening in front of my eyes was nothing short of astounding.
Okay, so I'm going to push back a little bit that the whole Sixth Sense, seeing dead people aspect of the movie was superfluous to me. Like, I didn't need the idea that he was a medium of any sort. Like, that whole part could have been cut out in my opinion. But
listen, man, without that connection, the beginning and the ending made less sense, because in fact the connection to that scene as an observer was electrified by the fact that this was a man who had been connected with the afterlife, and so his particular afterlife experience would be expected to be, to me, so unusual, where the dead owl and the coughing up of the final phlegm and hairball that an owl coughs up after it dies as a metaphor for his entire life was, for me, intricately connected to the fact that he was part of that afterlife in a way that he certainly...
that others would not be?
...couldn't understand. Well, certainly, but he couldn't understand it. In his anguish in the arms of his mother, and I've become confused if it was his mother, but I think it was his mother, told me all I needed to know about the fact that he didn't know what he had, but what he had was part of what his family had. And so his particular episode of passing was more relevant. So in fact, I have to disagree with you in the strongest possible terms.
Well, I was going to disagree, but not in the strongest possible terms.
And I challenge you to a duel.
So,
if I had a glove in my hand, I'd slap your face. That's how strongly I feel. The strongest possible terms. Did my point get through to you? Now, what else do you have?
So,
come back, if you dare. I'll slap you around next time I see you, no matter what. Now, I've never done it, but I'm going to do it. So be prepared. So, your father will probably intervene. Yeah,
I'm okay with heaven imagery in movies, but and seeing your ancestor for a couple minutes in the movie, fine, whatever. But
you dismiss even of that remarkable point, but that's okay.
Yeah, I am dismissive of that.
You're jaded and beyond your years. your mentioning of heaven, and in regards to this movie, can only bring to mind one of the most remarkable hymns of ancient times.
Oh, Lord.
In heaven, there is no beer. That's why we drink it down here. In heaven, there is no beer. That's why we drink it down here. Sing it with me now. In heaven, sing it with me now. In heaven, there is no beer.
What sort of heaven is this?
That's why we drink it down here. This is heaven, asshole. Don't you get it?
Oh.
Sing it with me.
This is heaven because we have beer?
Yes.
And in the future heaven, there's no beer because it sucks?
Thick as, yeah. Thick as a brick.
For
sure. I don't know why I do this with you. I need to find a partner that is not only technologically advanced as you are and can produce every moment of everything, but also is a little bit more clever. But I'll keep you on. I do my part every week.
Okay, so
I call it my ear.
So let's forgive the supernatural bit of this movie.
Forgive it. Forgive it.
Let's look.
Acknowledge it at least.
Let's acknowledge it and look to the other parts. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, fine.
It's mediocre at best, but I've gotten used to that with you.
But last time you mentioned one of the things.
Lukewarm will have to do.
Go ahead. What's your next point?
You know, there's got to be some guy in the world named Lukewarm.
You know where he lives? Scalding, Pennsylvania. That's a real town. Look it up. Put it in the show notes.
Scalding?
That's where Joe Biden is from. Did you see the debate? If Joe Biden said one more time, number one, he'd say a point, then he'd say number one, then he'd say number two, and then he'd say, the fact of the matter is. We need a count. You could post this, because it's there, out there in the data world. How many times did Joe Biden say during the debate, the fact of the matter is? You guess and I'll guess, and we'll go from there. Did you see the debate?
I did not. But we know what that sounds like. Oh. That sounds like a drinking game. I think our listeners should watch the debate, and every time Joe Biden says the fact of the matter is, they have to take a drink, and then then they'll wake up in time for 3 episodes from now.
During the drinking game, you have to say the words, the fact of the matter is, to coincide with Biden, and the person who gets it closest doesn't have to drink, and everybody else does.
Oh, good rules. Good rules.
The fact of the matter is, 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 and the fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter is.
Okay.
That could work.
Yes.
So we could package it and put beer in the package, like your episode ago about the special McDonald's around the world burgers that you ranted about for good Lord, half the episode.
Yes.
Right. This would be an around the world of beers, but because we want it to sell, and this does connect to a vignette I have of earlier this evening, this would be a selection of amber beers from around the world.
Get a little Smithix up in there. Smithix.
Well,
Schmittix.
It's spelled like Smithwick's, but it's not pronounced that way.
Hold on. Let me go back to the movie for a little bit more time, and then we're going to talk about your anecdotes.
It was actually a vignette rather than an anecdote. Very different.
Right.
Very different. So if you're going to line me up, cue me up properly.
Okay. I'm sorry.
You can cut this part out if it's embarrassing that the listening public understands the need for editing based on your rather unnerving shortcomings.
The public is totally aware of my unnerving shortcomings.
Because the public, it consists of your mother, your father, and one other guy who mows your fucking lawn. That's the entire crew that listens to this.
The public, no, they don't listen to this.
No, the three of them don't. The guy who does the lawn only listens sporadically.
Yes.
And your mother is disgusted, so it's just your dad.
For sure. You asked me last time if I could give my if I thought what was representative of Spain in general, and
yes,
and for sure, this underbelly urban world has nothing to do with what I experience. I don't see this level of, hiding immigrants and just when at the very beginning of the movie where Javier Bardem is serving his kids breakfast cereal for dinner, and their kids are like, well, this isn't what I want. And he was like, well, what do you want? And what they tell him is the stereotypical child's favorite food in Spain, which is basically French fries and a fried egg. That is what my kids, if I ever say, hey, this is what's for dinner, and I say French fries and a fried egg, they will be so happy.
Do they dip the French fry into the yolk of the egg, as I would?
Some do, yes. My kids, my eldest will do that. But so anyway, that was very truthful. But I have no idea what this inner city immigration racket is like, and I also don't have any reason to disbelieve what was presented in the movie. Like that's
that was
hard.
My question, actually.
That's.
But was this a representation that was in fact new to you, or were you aware of the underbelly in Barcelona to some degree?
I am aware.
It would be.
I am aware that
it would be strange for me to hear that you didn't know about this.
Well, I am aware
for
sure that when there's a marketplace or in a crowded city center, there will often be African folks there with a blanket laid out of wares that would be happy to sell you that are cheap Chinese crap or pirated DVDs or something. And I am aware that they have a rope that is tied to each of the four ends of their sheet, such that they can grab the middle of it and pull it up and take all of their stuff away if the police come. That is that's a fairly common thing that is seen in Spain. So that is for sure legit. As for the immigrants, Chinese folks that Korean or those guys were. I don't have any connection with that market or that idea of a sweatshop that is building little bags and things. So, but I don't deny that it exists. I mean, it seems legit to me.
Well, it was disturbing. It was disturbing and so chaotic and just hard to watch, but. In my view, not unlike what I'm aware of in every major city in the world.
Sure.
And the neighborhoods that exist there that are so different from anything I've ever experienced or, praise God, will never experience. Such a hard life.
I have one final thought about the movie that I want to express. Man, my kids, especially my 6-year-old, is at the age where he likes to ask me, what's the thing that you fear most? And I'm like, fuck, man, that's a deep question. Let me think about it. And
that's what you say to your 10-year-old. Fuck, man.
6-year-old.
fuck, man. Let me think about that, bruh.
So
your 6-year-old will grow up to be a biker. There's no doubt about it.
But my legit answer to him is that anything happened to my kids. That's on becoming a parent. It became more important to me that nothing bad happened to my kids. And the close second to that is what is depicted in the movie, is that something will happen to me, and my kids will have to grow up without me. I remember there's a Michael Keaton movie. The plot of the movie is that he is recording videos of himself. This is pre-selfie, pre-smartphone, where he is recording
because he's going to die.
Because he's recording videos of himself for his kids to tell them, look, like he teaches his son, who is an infant or whatever, about how to shave. You know, this is how you shave. You do this and this, and stuff like that. And that movie is, it's unwatchable to me because it's so tragic,
too emotional.
And that is a particular thorn in my heart of the idea that my kids would grow up and not know me, and please let it not be the case that they're listening to this when I'm gone and, they're wondering how I am. But anyway, that is super, super sad to me. And the fact that this movie just jumps right into that, as well as having it have happened to the primary character, is just heart-wrenching to me.
So you were so unsettled by this movie that you actually may not have liked it all that much because of the way that it left you feeling, which is no stain on the performances or the quality of the movie, but simply a personal opinion about what you are after.
Yes.
When you see movies. And in my household, I've often argued the fact that when others here have said it was so sad and tragic, I don't know. I didn't love it. And I separate that from my opinion, which is that I go to a movie to become emotionally extended.
Yes.
And whatever direction that extension goes, while I certainly wouldn't say that I don't like high hilarity and I love to laugh out loud, I'm almost more impressed when it takes me to the point
of sorrow.
This,
yeah.
As this movie did, beyond and a sorrow, but mixed with an existential anxiety and a set of existential questions
yes.
About here, now, and later.
Yes, for sure. I can't say that after watching it I was like, "Wow, what a great movie," but on the other hand, I can't stop thinking about it, which means that it was a great movie. So I will give it that for sure. So let's talk about something happier. Cue the vignette.
At the local pub, I enter and order my bottle of Smittix, and they tell me, well...
I'd like a Smittix, please.
It's spelled Smithwicks, but they don't pronounce it that way.
And she says, oh, okay, and hands me the bottle and says, it's our last bottle. In fact, it's our last bottle ever.
No.
And I said, what do you mean ever? I said, what do you mean ever? And she said, it's the last bottle. Nobody drinks it. I said, what do you mean nobody drinks it?
I just fucking ordered it.
And I drank 2 bottles. She said, well, we put it on special to $3 so I could get rid of it. I said, well, I appreciate that. Who do you think drank it all? And she said, well, nobody else is drinking it. And I said, well, you want me to go to another bar? Because that's what I'll do.
Nice.
I won't come here anymore. And I come here a lot. And she said, well, if you're going to drink it, I'll order it. I said, what did I just say? I was beyond, and during it, I was looking forward to my second beer, and I said, well, if you don't have this, I said, certainly you've got Fat Tire on tap.
Yes.
She said, well, no, but I've got it downstairs. I think I'm going to put the tap in, but I otherwise have this beer from Founders Brewery in Grand Rapids, and it's called Dirty Bastard, and it's an amber. And I said, Dirty Bastard is an amber. She said, yeah, it's a Scotch ale. I said, well, if it's a Scotch ale, I'm not sure that it's amber, but maybe. So she gave me a sample.
Uh-huh.
And while I was sampling it, and still with the, the factor of no Smittix,
yep.
right, after this one bottle, she went ahead and tapped the Fat Tire keg.
Nice.
And so I had a glass of the Founders resting and getting ready to drink from the pour. And then she said, well, I don't like beer and I don't drink beer, so would you taste this Fat Tire and tell me if it's okay? So she gave me about a little double gulp in the bottom of the glass, and she said, that just earns you a free beer. And then she poured me a full Fat Tire. So my vignette is this.
Wait, I will sample beer in.
Be open, young grasshopper, to the never-ending opportunities that beer tasting affords you.
I would definitely taste a free beer. I would taste a beer in exchange for a beer. Sure.
Oh, and as it turns out, the Founders was more malty than I like, and while it was in fact amber-ish, it had a Scotch bitterness to it from cooking it in the keg that I didn't like, and I didn't finish the sample she gave me. So I mean, there is a. If I don't like it, I'm not going to drink it.
Well, you're so discerning in your.
Yeah, that's my middle name, discernment.
Yes. For the last week, I've been living on my own as a bachelor because I sent...
Wow, where's Mama gone?
My wife and kids have gone away on vacation, but I don't get that much vacation during the summer. So I've been living at home alone, which there's actually a phrase in Spain for when the mother and kids go on vacation in the summer and the father has to stay home and work. And that's being de Rodríguez. That's like... It's like being Mr. Smith, because Rodríguez is a very common surname in Spain, and I don't know where exactly this came from, but it's this whole idea of being. I don't know if it's about being your own, being a liberated man, because that's this ridiculous idea, but there's this concept, and it's
De
Rodríguez, and it's been very. The word that always comes to mind is unmooring. Like, I don't have any, like, I've got my day job and I've got my set hours where I need to be working. But the rest of the time, like, I haven't had this much, this is not the first year that I've done a little bit of this, but it reminds me of just being a single person with all the rest of the day free, with no homework from school or anything, and just being, like, I can do whatever the hell I want. I can get up at the time that I want, or I can go to bed at the time that I want. And it's been really bizarre because sometimes I'll, like, stay up really late and I'll get up really late, and other times I'll be tired and I'll go to bed early and I'll get up really early. And it's just this very bizarre, and there's nobody else in the house, which leads to another of my fears of, being home alone and, like, falling down the stairs, having some accident or something. Like, I distinctly remember in the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, where he decides he's gonna hang himself, and he goes up to the top of the mountain or whatever, and before he does it, he puts a little dummy that weighs about as much as he does, and he tries to, as if it was going to hang, and, like, it falls and it crumples down and it falls down this hill, and he imagines, what if that was me, and what if I, broke several bones and I was just here all by myself and I would just die in agony in that broken state. So anyway, I have this sort of fear of, being home alone without several days from someone coming to check on me and, breaking my legs and stuff and falling down the stairs or something. Is that reasonable?
You seem to have a lot of fears.
I fear everything.
I'm afraid this podcast has become quite dark.
Anyway, I'm expressing my...
Well, I haven't feared today or lately about somehow throwing myself off a mountain and just breaking every bone.
No, that was.
But I can imagine why. Somebody might, who, as you say, is
home alone.
That, my friend.
Just like Macaulay Culkin.
Now that was quite a movie. How many times have you seen it?
Dozens.
6, 8, 10. So I have homework for you because you're in the De Rodríguez.
I'm home alone.
Of your home alone, your De Rodríguez. And that is to watch Moonstruck.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that.
Yeah, I have that movie available. And other stuff is...
It won an Academy Award.
For what?
It was the best picture. Best picture.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, well...
And the performance from her, she was nominated for Best Actress. If that isn't enough motivation, I don't know what is. I don't know why you're so reluctant to see this movie. We've been talking about it for fucking 17 weeks. It's like, Jesus, just fucking watch the fucking movie so we can talk about it.
It's sort of better if I don't. So.
Why? So that you could piss me off every 5th episode?
Yes.
Because you still haven't seen it?
That's the reason. In fact, I might watch it and not admit to it. So I may have already seen it. I'm just...
Oh, that's bullshit. You've not already seen it.
What's the? I'm gonna
Push my buttons.
Don't make me kick you until you're dead.
Oh, yeah. You posted that in the show notes. That clip.
Yes.
That clip. Olympia Dukakis. Oh, my God. One of the best roles ever. Speaking of Olivia Dukakis, you know that I was in Natchitoches, Louisiana, where they filmed Steel Magnolias. Olivia Dukakis, Julia Roberts.
I did not know that.
It was quite interesting to be in all those places where the movie was. They also had a nice little blues bar there that was open on the weekends. Papa's. Well, Papa's had the owners of Papa's had another restaurant right next door called Mama's. And Papa's was open as a blues club or an entertainment club over the weekend, and Mama's was open every day as a restaurant. It was a very, very, very cool spot. Natchitoches. I think I said the story on an episode about pronouncing it Nacogdoches because I asked Siri how to pronounce it, and she was all fucked up. How embarrassing.
Well, I do recall looking that up for some show notes, and the idea that it's pronounced Natchitoches is just ridiculous. But I have lived in England where they say, Leicester for something that is clearly like Leicester or whatever it looks like it's pronounced.
Yeah, right. Right. Like Smithwick's.
What?
Like Smithwick's.
Smithwick's. You want Smithwick's.
That's not the way it's. That's just not the way it's pronounced.
This week in my little village in northern Spain, we're having a Celtic music festival. And they have this every year. And it's very curious because I had no idea about this, but apparently what were known as the Celts, from Scotland and Ireland and whatnot, which I guess are sort of Viking in origin, they have a pronounced presence in northern Spain. I don't know about the rest of Europe, but in northern Spain, it's a very common folklore instrument is like the bagpipes or the flute or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's this sort of bizarre brotherhood from northern Spain and the Irish and Scottish. And we have this festival, and sometimes people actually come from Ireland and Scotland to perform in this festival. But it's a lot of fun.
That's fun. That's fun. When I was hypnotized once. In a past life, I was in Ireland, laying on a table, stone table, wounded, wearing a furry knee to foot leggings, with an old woman who was, I think, my mother, using what can only be described as a filthy wet rag.
Wait, you were naked above the knee?
Forehead. No, I just know I had the wrappings on because I could see them when I looked down.
Okay.
But with a filthy rag, she was mopping my feverish forehead with water out of what appeared to be a wooden or a stone bowl. And I knew that in a previous life that I was an Irish warrior who had been wounded in battle and in fact had died on that table in a hut in Ireland. So
okay.
Just FYI.
So how certain of you are you of that?
I experienced it. It's not a matter of faith. It's observation. I experienced it.
Okay, but what's the difference between that and a daydream or a dream or whatever? It felt more real?
Because one happened. Because one happened and one didn't. Next question.
No. Your dreams happen. But
this wasn't a dream.
Okay, so
I was under hypnosis.
Okay, so you are very certain that that was a real thing.
I'm very certain that it's a possibility. Let me put it that way. Did it?
Okay.
Actually, I don't know, but I will tell you this, that the trip backwards in my life, jetting backwards from every real experience that I know was real, through the birth canal, back to the other side of previous lives, was an astounding experience. And so with the mixture of that, which I can confirm is real, and a mixture of that, which God only knows, I can only tell you that I pretty much consider it, pretty good possibility that it happened. Although when I did a DNA test, I didn't come up with Irish at all. So there's that.
There's your science conflicting. Yeah. But
it's a spiritual.
Right.
Spiritual perspective rather.
Right.
I don't know.
It's curious to me that all the people that claim to have seen their past lives, turns out they're either royalty or warriors. Nobody is just your average Joe Blow cobbler on the street that is, or even less than a cobbler that's like shoveling shit for a living. Nobody comes back to that.
Well, here's the thing.
Whereas for sure there are if we're granting the whole past lives reincarnation thing, for sure there are people today that were in the past, shit shovelers, and nobody when they go to their medium comes back with that.
Well, I think you were. I think you were probably just a sweeper. And so where I, in fact, was a warrior, you were the guy in the corner of the room who I didn't even see during my memory, hunched over with a little fucking broom, cleaning up the fucking dust and probably cleaning out my fucking shit pan.
Probably.
But that's your lot in life, amigo.
I'm just saying.
I can't help it that you come from a long line of sweepers or hut cleaners,
right,
or whatever. You probably slept in the haystack and didn't even have a blanket. Your name. You probably used some type of tails of horses cut off and trimmed.
Yeah,
you covered yourself with those in corn stalks. I mean, I don't know, but there are those who had and those who didn't, and you were the ones that didn't, and that was your thing. Me, I was a warrior. You weren't even allowed. People like you weren't even allowed to carry my sword, which probably weighed more than you did.
Probably
because you were shriveled from lack of proper nutrition.
Breathing in all those shit fumes all day.
It's just sweep. As the sweeper, you probably hadn't taken a bath, as you are wont now, particularly during De Rodríguez.
Hey man,
so not
I put on a shirt, days.
Right? Who cares?
Yeah. So
there's a woman around to say, "Hey man, you stink. Take a shower."
Indeed.
That prompting, which of course I require in my.
No, anyway, I just want to point
my weekly ritual.
I just want to point out that it's pretty curious that everyone that has seen a past life has seen a good past life. No one comes back and says, "Wow, I was a slave."
You think lying on a table dying from sword wounds is like a great life?
I mean, you weren't a sweeper. You were a warrior.
Well, at least the sweeper was alive in the corner, probably chuckling at my fate.
I was. I remember that.
An erotic, pitiful character as you are. So, anyway.
Look at that little warrior. Lol.
I'm afraid this is the image that we have to end this on because I got to go.
All right. Well, try not to get stabbed in the next week. We'll see you next week. If you've enjoyed what you just heard, you can support us by telling a friend or sharing us on social media. Monthly donations to help us pay for hosting and editing can be provided at patreon.com/happyhour. That's all one word, happy hour. All our episodes, including show notes for each episode, are available on our website, happyhour.fm. You can tweet at us at happyhour.fm, that's with a dot spelled out, happyhour.dotfm, or we can receive email at the same name, happyhour.dotfm@gmail.com. It would also be great if you could give us a positive rating on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. That really helps other people find us. See you next week.